I'm David McRaney, and this is the You Are Not So Smart podcast. In July of 2017, former FBI Director James B. Comey sat down to testify before the Senate Intelligence Committee for one of the most anticipated congressional hearings in decades.
Do you have any doubt that Russia attempted to interfere in the 2016 elections?
None. There should be no fuzz on this whatsoever. The Russians interfered.
This testimony was important for people aligned to both political parties because Comey had been fired 2 months earlier by President Donald Trump. So people on the left, many of them, believed it was because Comey was investigating possible connections between the Trump campaign and Russian attempts to interfere in the U.S. presidential election. But on the right, people thought that it was an unjust witch hunt by sore losers.
To document that conversation, that you actually started documenting it as soon as you got into the car.
I was honestly concerned that he might lie about the nature of our meeting, and so I thought it really important to document.
This was the only president that you felt like in every meeting you needed to document, because at some point, using your words, he might put out a non-truthful.
The build-up to this testimony was intense. There was months of vitriol between Trump supporters and Clinton supporters, and it had turned the whole thing into a sort of warped, shared fever dream of partisan acrimony. And it seemed to people on both sides that the Comey hearing would be this moment that the fever finally broke and reality rushed back into American life like a cool, damp towel on our collective forehead. All across the world, people tuned in to watch this live. All across the internet, social media burned white hot in anticipation, and in every timeline, people posted a running commentary of his every answer, every twitch and gesture. And every word he uttered went out over live video on television and the internet, and the moment he was done speaking, those videos went up online for everyone to rewatch, and the transcripts went up shortly after, and soon the nation was scrutinizing every nuance of his time before the Senate. So there could be no doubt about what he actually said, except there was.
All right, here's what we learned today from James Comey's testimony. The President of the United States never obstructed justice, and in fact, the President actually encouraged the FBI Director Comey to go forward.
Today really was, as it was predicted to be, the worst day of the Trump presidency. And Donald Trump knows it. And the proof that Donald Trump knows.
Huge victory for Donald Trump today and a massive defeat for the Democrats and, of course, the propaganda media.
Imagine right now, at this moment, the seething rage that you know the president is living with.
I think Jim Comey's credibility is at about zero right now.
And the president's lawyer on behalf of the president saying, I never did that. I never told the FBI to shut down the Flynn investigation. On the other hand, there's the fired FBI director who says the president did do that.
A month of shrieking hype, millions of words of ink, hundreds of hours of the shrillest television ever produced add up to pretty much
nothing. The darkest moment in the history of representative government in this country. James Comey has now implied under oath that the President of the United States is being investigated by the Justice Department.
Well, first of all, I just want to get out on the record that I think this whole Comey business is being used by both the Democrats and Republicans to distract from the main issue, which is when are they going to get started on the wall.
The president says it was a total and complete vindication for him, which technically is not true. Even before that, there were separate narratives going on simultaneously. We're not talking about a mild spin or slight difference of opinion, but wildly disparate takes that, could make you wonder if everyone was even watching the same hearing. Everyone watched it. Not a single mind was changed.
A few days out, Reddit user It's Not the Network summed up the sentiment of everyone watching all this coverage, and this user wrote, I learned 3 things from watching all the TV coverage, Twitter coverage, Facey pages, and Reddit coverage. 1, the Republicans think Comey's testimony exonerates the president. 2, the Democrats think Comey's testimony condemns the president. And 3, politics makes me want to shoot myself in the face with a bazooka. Everyone heard what Comey said. Everyone had the same facts, and yet everyone heard him say something different. And it's moments like these that have led to that feeling of epistemic dread all across American politics and world politics. The idea that facts just don't work on people. Politicians are openly lying about things that people can disconfirm with one Google search with their phone in their pocket, and yet their supporters don't seem to care. Once Facebook realized that Russian trolls were seeding conservative news feeds with weaponized clickbait, Apple CEO Tim Cook told the world that fake news was, quote, killing people's minds. And then that term, fake news, it mutated from a rebranded way of talking about propaganda to just anything that people wished wasn't true. And then came this Comey hearing, and every news story for or against one side or the other led to a similar outcome. Same facts, different realities. And to top off this hysteria, in late 2016, the Oxford University Press Dictionary named post-truth its International Word of the Year, citing a 2,000% increase in its usage during coverage of Brexit and the U.S. presidential election. Commenting on that announcement, the Washington Post lamented, "It's official. Truth is dead. Facts are passé."